The ice is flat and white in every direction. Nothing moves. The wind is the only sound, clocking in at -30 degrees Fahrenheit. And there, in the middle of all of it, a polar bear sits completely still, not sleeping, not resting, waiting. It hasn't moved in hours, not a twitch, not a visible breath, just an enormous white shape beside a small hole in the ice, staring at nothing. To a passing observer, this looks like patience. But what's actually happening is one of the most refined hunting systems in the natural world. Under that ice, somewhere below, a ringed seal is swimming. It has to breathe eventually. The polar bear knows this, and it will wait here, in temperatures that would kill a human in under 2 hours, for as long as it takes. This is what polar bears do, not survive the Arctic, inhabit it, as though they were built for exactly this world and nothing else. Which, in a way, they were. But the stranger details underneath that story are things most people never hear. Most people assume they know polar bears, big white bear, eats seals, lives somewhere cold. But the moment you look closely, almost nothing about this animal works the way you expect. Start with the name, Ursus maritimus, sea bear. Polar bears aren't classified as land animals. They're marine mammals, the same category as whales and seals. They spend more of their lives on sea ice and open water than on land. The ocean isn't adjacent to their world. It is their world. Polar bears are also the most recently evolved bear on Earth. They split from brown bears just 343,000 to 479,000 years ago. In evolutionary terms, that is barely any time at all. The two species are so closely related, they can still interbreed. Growler bear hybrids are documented and increasingly spotted as warming pushes them into contact. In an evolutionary blink, polar bears rewired their fur, metabolism, cardiovascular system, an entire relationship with food to survive somewhere no bear had ever been before. Here's the first thing most people get wrong. Polar bear fur is not white. Each hair shaft is transparent and hollow, scattering and reflecting light the way snow does. No pigment at all. Beneath it, the skin is jet black, absorbing solar heat in a world where the sun barely rises for months at a time. The system works so well that polar bears can overheat if they run. Adult males chasing prey at full speed risk overheating in temperatures far below freezing. So they move slowly, deliberately. Not because they're lazy, because they're engineered that way. And there's something stranger. In the late 1970s, several zoo-kept polar bears turned green, not sick. The hollow core of each hair had been colonized by algae from their enclosure water. A polar bear that turns green. The fur doesn't just reflect its environment, it can literally contain it. Polar bears eat almost nothing but fat. Their primary prey is the ringed seal, and when a bear catches one, it eats the blubber first and almost exclusively. Adult bears in full spring feeding mode can take in enough saturated fat to put on several pounds in a single day. An entire survival strategy running on fat at a level that would destroy a human cardiovascular system within years, except it doesn't destroy theirs. When scientists sequenced the polar bear genome in 2014, they found something that stopped them. Polar bears carry unique mutations in a gene called ApoB, which governs how LDL cholesterol moves through the blood. In humans, the fat loads polar bears routinely consume would build arterial plaques, trigger heart failure, and cause organ damage. In polar bears, these mutations appear to neutralize the damage completely. Their cardiovascular system was redesigned at the genomic level to run on a fuel that would kill anything else. The answer to one of medicine's oldest problems might be written into the biology of an animal that eats almost nothing else. Back to the ice. Back to the bear that hasn't moved. It detected this breathing hole from nearly a mile away. A polar bear's sense of smell is sharp enough to locate a seal through 3 feet of compacted snow and ice. And under the right conditions, they can reportedly detect prey from over 20 miles. It is the most acute terrestrial nose in the natural world. The technique is called still hunting. It demands something that almost no predator possesses: complete, prolonged, statue-like stillness in conditions that are actively trying to kill it. Observers have recorded bears holding position beside a breathing hole for over 14 hours straight at -30 without breaking posture. When the seal finally surfaces, when the faintest sound of displaced water reaches the bear, the strike happens in under a second. One swipe of a forepaw, a clean pull through the hole. It is over before the seal understood it had surfaced. Nothing about that is normal. In spring, males wander the sea ice, following scent trails left by females. They fight, they court, and after mating, they leave. What happens next in the female is one of the strangest reproductive strategies of any mammal alive. The fertilized egg does not implant. It develops into a tiny ball of cells, a blastocyst, and then stops. It floats dormant in the uterus for up to 4 months while the mother keeps hunting and building fat. Her body holds the embryo in suspension, waiting to see if she has enough reserves to make the pregnancy work. If she hasn't reached a critical fat threshold by autumn, the blastocyst is simply reabsorbed. No pregnancy, no den. She hunts through winter and tries again next year. Polar bears have the longest delayed implantation of any mammal, up to 8 months from mating to pregnancy beginning. If she is fat enough, the embryo implants. She digs a den into a snowdrift and disappears. Inside the den, in complete darkness, she gives birth. The cubs arrive at under 700 grams, roughly the weight of a tin of soup, blind, hairless, and totally helpless. Among the smallest newborns relative to maternal size of any mammal on Earth. Their mother, who hasn't eaten since autumn, nurses them on milk rich enough to grow them from the size of a fist to the size of a small dog in just a few months, running entirely on stored fat. She doesn't truly hibernate through this. Her heart rate drops, her metabolism slows, but she stays alert and reactive, capable of waking to defend her cubs in seconds. And every other polar bear on Earth isn't denning at all. They're out on the ice, hunting, through the entire Arctic winter. This is an animal built for perpetual motion in a world that never stops trying to stop it. In 2008, researchers fitted a GPS collar to an adult female in the Beaufort Sea, north of Alaska. What they tracked over the following 9 days broke every known record. She swam 687 kilometers, 9.5 days of continuous open water swimming through water between 2 and 6 degrees Celsius. She lost 22% of her body weight. Her cub, who tried to follow, did not survive. She wasn't doing this because she chose to. The sea ice that should have been there was gone. This is the part that matters. Polar bears' entire feeding strategy, the still hunting, the breathing holes, the seal pups in their spring snow lairs, depends on a platform of frozen ocean. Without it, they can't eat. And when the ice disappears and bears are forced to land, research has confirmed they have no metabolic backup plan. No special energy-saving state kicks in. They simply fast and lose a kilogram of body weight every single day. Scientists project global polar bear populations could fall by more than 30% by 2050. Some subpopulations are already in decline. An animal built to withstand everything the Arctic produces: cold, darkness, months without food, 9 straight days in freezing water, has no adaptation for a world that no longer freezes. A polar bear sitting motionless on sea ice is one of the most complete animals on Earth. Fur that isn't white, skin that is black, a pregnancy held in suspension until the moment is right, a cardiovascular system genetically rebuilt to eat what nothing else can survive eating, patience that outlasts anything that has tried to outlast it. All of it built, in evolutionary terms, almost overnight. And now it sits on ice that is shrinking, in a world warming faster than it evolved to handle. Still waiting, still watching the water. The question was never whether polar bears could survive the cold. They were built for the cold. The question is whether we'll give them the one thing evolution couldn't: a world that stays frozen long enough for them to eat.